My name is Sharon Nasset, and I'd like to welcome you to High Wide News. High Wide News? Why? Well, today we're talking about the Third Bridge Corridor, and we're talking about transportation. Let's start out with a little bit of history and how the I-5 corridor needs to have capacity added for the economy, safety, and the environment. This right here is a picture of the I-5 corridor. As you can see, the I-5 corridor in our area starts with I-205 in Vancouver. Goes down to I-84 and the Markham Bridge in Portland, Oregon. This corridor in our area is called the I-5 Trade Corridor and is nationally known. It's nationally known for having two ports, Port of Portland, Port of Vancouver, Rivergate, Northgate, the airport in Oregon, which is international, the airport in Vancouver. It also has the transcontinental rail lines, a transcontinental rail line that goes from north to south, and a transcontinental rail line that goes east to west. Rarely in the do you have such transit with the trains. It also has two international highways, the I-5 corridor, which goes from Canada to Mexico, and the interstate freeway of I-84 that goes across the United States. This makes us a transportation hub for the rest of the nation. That transportation hub has us not only jobs, safety, and a good economy, but international attention for more jobs. We are one of the best places to locate to have your business because you can get anywhere in the world from here. Air, water, sea, land, train. How wonderful is that? This picture here that you're looking at is the I-5 corridor and its elements. We have trucking, we have the air, we have the water, and we have the trains. As you can see from looking at this map, the majority of these elements where we get our employment base are near the Columbia River. They're near the Columbia River because of the advantages of moving freight at a flatter level. Most of these important elements of the I-5 trade corridor, also known the I-5 corridor, are above Columbia Boulevard in Portland, Oregon, and below SR, State Route 500 in Vancouver, Washington.
Okay, now by above Columbia, you mean north of Columbia Boulevard?
I beg your pardon.
Okay, and south of SR 205 or SR 500?
Yes, sir. That importance is why we have the bridge influence area. The bridge influence area was talked about in the I-5 Trade and Transportation Partnership Study that ended in 2002. It is a corridor-wide study that goes from Rivergate all the way out to the I-205 and north SR 500 in Vancouver, and the southern end is Columbia Boulevard. This important area affects the Columbia River Crossing Bridge, which is its historic name, also known as the I-5 Bridge, because 70% of the destination and origin is inside the bridge influence area. Sometimes people tend to get slightly confused that the I-5 freeway is the I-5 corridor. The I-5 freeway is a freeway in our area, and the I-5 corridor has two destinations. One is a 3,000-mile corridor that goes from Canada, Washington, Oregon, California to Mexico, known as the I-5 corridor. In our area, the I-5 trade corridor starts at I-205 in Washington and goes to the Markham Bridge in Portland, Oregon. It includes I-205 and I-5. The majority of our industrial areas are inside this I-5 trade corridor. So, the importance is here when you notice that we have only 2 bridges and 1 transcontinental rail bridge. We have had studies going on since 1978. We have fewer bridges in our area than the majority of fewer bridges in our area than similar sized cities in the United States. If we built 2 more bridges, we would still be tied for last place. Yet we're known for being a transportation hub. This has caused us quite a bit of economic depression and problems. In 1980, the I-5 corridor was deemed to be over capacity and had failed by the legislation body of Oregon and Washington. And at that time, they had just started the 1979 study of what to do with the I-5 freeway because it was over capacity and we did not have I-205 built yet. What was discovered when they decided that the corridor was the I-5 freeway was already over capacity was to take it from its failed state, which if you were here, you remember it was a parking lot, and put metered ramps on at all of the on and off ramps. By having metered ramps, you stem the flow that can get onto the freeway, and by stemming that flow, you then get the freeway to go back up to speed. The problem with putting these freeway ramp lights on was as people waited in line to get onto the I-5 freeway, they were most likely to turn and drive through the neighborhoods using Martin Luther King Boulevard, Interstate Avenue, Vancouver, Greeley Street, and other neighborhood streets. In 1999, the I-5 corridor study, which was probably about the 5th study since 1978 and 79, deemed that it was unhealthy and unsafe and inhumane for the amount of overflow traffic that had left I-5 and was going through the I-5 neighborhoods that were adjacent to the freeway. In this episode, they then decided they had to have another study. The I-5 Trade and Transportation Partnership, which won several awards, and you can find their information on the I-5 Partnership website, stated clearly several important things. One, that the I-5 corridor that the I-5 freeway was over capacity. They also realized that widening it from 3 lanes to 4 lanes or 5 lanes or 6 lanes would not work. It was so over capacity and the freeway ramp lights had allowed so much traffic to go through the neighborhoods that if they made 4 lanes, it would still be full. If they made 5 lanes, it would still be full. And if they went to 6 lanes, it would be full a few years after constructing it, and it would continue to gravitate traffic through the neighborhoods to the I-5 freeway, continuing the problem and making it larger as some large freeways in California and other places have done.